In a big push to the digitalization agenda that is set to further boost the digital adoption, the RBI has announced linking UPI, which is the Unified Payments Interface, with credit cards now. We all know how the COVID-19 pandemic made people focus on the contactless payments in their daily lives. Though a significant number of people started using the contactless payment options such as UPI even before the pandemic, its usage has gone up significantly post the lockdown or post pandemic. Even today, if you order anything on Swiggy, I'm sure you will get the option. You might have seen that option that you get to choose the contactless delivery. Similarly, we now have the option for contactless payments using UPI. Now, to talk about the pre-COVID era or the pre-pandemic days that we've spent, whenever we used to go out for a shopping or for a trip or for anything for that matter, the first thing we would carry is our wallet. We would ensure that we have enough cash in hand whenever we go out for buying anything. But today, using UPI has become a new normal. It has become a new digital wallet. I'm sure you too might have faced this. Earlier, whenever we used to go out on a auto rickshaw and the auto driver would say, "Madam, change nahi hai," which means, "Madam, I do not have change." Or whenever we used to go out for a grocery shopping and we used to struggle to find out that ₹5 just to buy some chilies out there. And we used to rush around asking other shopkeepers to give us 500 change. But today, this is not the case thanks to the digital transaction that we have. UPI transactions have made lives so much simpler for most of the buyers like us across the country. To this extent, today you will find even the small stores out there enabling people to use UPI as a mode of transaction or a mode of payment. While many customers hold multiple debit and credit cards, the process of paying with cards may be a little complicated. For that, first of all, you need to carry a physical card with you whenever you're going out for shopping or whenever you're going out to purchase anything. Then the card has to be swiped. Many a times it also involves an OTP that comes to you whenever you're purchasing anything for the confirmation. In contrast, the UPI transactions are relatively easy and hassle-free. That is exactly why today more and more people have started using it, as it needs just your mobile number, which most of us carry with them any which ways. Now, in order to further boost the reach and usage of UPI and move towards making India a cashless economy, the central government has proposed to allow the much-awaited linking of credit cards with UPI. So what does this move exactly mean? What does it mean for a user just like you and me? Well, at present, most of us are using our savings account, our current accounts and debit cards to facilitate the UPI transactions. But with the RBI's announcement, soon the customers or the buyers will be able to use their credit cards as well for their UPI transactions when they are making. So why was this move actually taken? Well, let me tell you that with 26 crore users, UPI has emerged as one of the most popular payment systems in the recent times. So, well, to give out some numbers, last month a total of 594.6 crore transactions amounting to rupees 10.40 lakh crore were processed only through UPI. So now you can imagine how widely the UPI is being used by most of us. In April 2022, this year, even the RBI launched UPI for feature phones, thereby including about 400 million users of such phone users under the ambit of India's homegrown payments network. Now, what are feature phones that we're talking about here? Well, the feature phones are the basic phones which typically provides voice calling and text messaging functions. So the RBI has enabled these phones as well to use the UPI transactions. Thus, to continue this momentum, the RBI has decided to include the credit card options in the UPI, which will enable more and more people to make payments using the popular platforms like your GPay, which is Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm, etc. Linking of UPI and credit cards could possibly also result in the credit card usage zooming in India given UPI's widespread adoption. This is a major development as buyers will now be able to pay with their credit cards via UPI transactions. Now, this would also mean that now we don't have to memorize that 16-digit credit card number or the CVV or expiry or carry too many cards with us whenever we are walking out to purchase anything. Well, the other change that we are likely to see is with this move, there will also be a gradual decline of plastic cards. Also, for the in-person payments, there is a dependency on POS terminal for credit cards. Now, the small ticket merchants have started to avoid investing in POS machine after the QR code has kicked in, which eventually hurt the credit card industry. So this move or this change can see at least 5 to 10x growth in the usage of credit cards alone. So how can you use this? Well, to start with, the users will be able to link the NPCI, which is the National Payment Corporation of India's Rupee credit cards. Well, the other credit card providers such as the Visa and MasterCard are expected to gradually come in as well in the market. Now, if you're wondering you do not have a Rupee credit card and if you're wondering which banks are providing Rupee credit cards, then let me tell you there are some of the banks that allow its customers to have Rupee credit card, which includes the Punjab National Bank, the IDBI Bank, Union Bank, State Bank of India, the Bank of Baroda, Federal Bank and Saraswat Cooperative Bank. Let me also tell you that the Rupee also provides co-brand cards with the fellow banks such as HDFC Bank, SBI, PBN, etc. So linking UPI with credit cards will further simplify and give the consumers or the customers more power to decide the mode of payment they want to pay from. When you have multiple accounts linked on one UPI, you can select the account from which you want to make the payment. For example, so far, whenever you're choosing any payment mode, for example, if you're choosing GPay or if you're choosing PhonePe, Paytm or anything that you're using, you'll have the option to pay, say you have bank account 1, bank account 2, bank account 3, etc. But with this move, with the RBI linking UPI and the credit cards, you will soon see on your PhonePe apps and Google Pay apps that you also can add your credit cards. You can simply see there if you want to choose to pay from your credit card 1, credit card 2, credit card 3, etc. So how many of your credit cards you have, you can also put their number. You can also link your credit card numbers with your UPI. Now, if you're wondering how will this benefit you, let me tell you, you can benefit from the interest-free period on your credit card linked UPI transactions, provided that you have paid your credit card bills on time. This period can also stretch up to 6 weeks as well. You also generally get cashbacks or reward points on credit card spending, and this may apply to UPI linked credit card spendings as well. Now note that the facility of linking the Rupee credit card to the UPI could be available only after the required infrastructure developments are made. Moving on, let's now understand how will this work. Well, starting with, so far we only had the UPI payments could be made from the bank accounts by linking one's bank account to the UPI, that we know. However, later the UPI apps also started allowing individuals to add the credit and debit cards to make payments to the merchants. So you couldn't make payments to the individuals which are the non-merchants by using your UPI linked card. But by adding one's credit or debit card to UPI apps, one can make payments without the need to swipe it at the POS machine. What you all need to do is you need to just scan the QR code and choose the added credit or debit card as payment method to make the payment. So once you initiate the payment through the UPI app using your debit or credit card, a one-time password, which is called as OTP, is sent to your registered mobile number to complete the payment. Now, what's more interesting to talk about and to watch and to look out for is the MDR, which is the merchant discount rate. Now, so far we have learned that the objective of linking credit cards to UPI is to provide the customers the wider choice of payments. Whether it is the credit card, debit card or UPI, the customer doesn't incur any charge now. It is the merchant who bears the cost in terms of the merchant discount rate. What this basically means is the merchant who are using the credit, who is accepting the credit or the debit card, for transactions they have to pay a certain percentage of the amount, which is then further divided among the banks and the payment service providers. As of Jan 1st, 2020, the UPI and Rupee debit cards attracts zero MDR, meaning that there will be no charge are applied for these transactions. This is one of the key reasons for the widespread adoption of UPI by the merchants across the country. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the credit cards attract the highest MDR between 2 to 3%, which this again basically means that the merchant who will have to pay about 2 to 3% on the acceptance of the credit card for the transactions that is made by the consumers. Further, the credit cards also attract higher security measures, including the two-factor authentication, which will be difficult to implement for the UPI transactions. So what this basically means is that now with the allowance of the credit card linking with the UPI, the merchants who are accepting the debit cards and the credit cards already, they have to pay a certain amount to the banks and the payment system who are providing. Now, to what extent will the merchants accept the credit card being accepted or the being enabled in the UPI transactions will have to be waited and watched. So now coming back, now you as a user, what must you be cautious about? Well, you must be cautious and you need to limit yourself from the overutilization of the leverage offered by the credit cards. Credit cards basically work when the banks offer you the money that you do not own. So make sure that when the system comes in, you already have PhonePe, which is providing you, which is enabling you to use your credit cards when you're making any kind of payments or the transactions between peer-to-peer or peer-to-merchant. But what you need to look out is, although you can now link your credit cards with your UPI, but do not over and exceed the limit of the payments that you have to make later. Remember that using a credit card is okay to a certain extent. Only use it to the degree that to the level that you're allowed to. If you're going over and above that, also remember that you have to also pay the interest, which is levied on a monthly basis. So just make sure that you do not fall into the debt trap by overutilizing the credit card facility. So this is it for now. I hope this video was quite helpful to all the viewers out there. Now you have come to the end, you know what to do next, which is hit on the like button, subscribe to our channel for more such financial content, and do not forget to hit on the bell icon to get notified for our next video. Thank you for watching Freedom. Get wise and break free.